Hi Scrappy friends, this is Audrey. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a page for Confessions of a Paper Addict. It is my last page for the design team for now. I hope to be back someday, but just got some things going on, so I'm going to take a little break for a while. But that doesn't mean a break in pages, just a break from this team. But I love Virginia's cut files, and I was especially excited to work with some of these Halloween files she has. So this one's called Witch Please. And I have some photos of my daughter in her witch Halloween costume from a couple years ago. And I just thought it would go great with these photos. So very simple. I just kind of put up my page there, gauge the size, and of course, because we're going with Halloween, I cut it from black paper. And I have it sitting off to the side. I have the papers that I'm going to back it with, some orange and green. But for my background, I decided I wanted some contrast, and I thought I would do some purple. So I knew I wanted to also have black in the background, and I wanted to have kind of like a purple circle in the middle. So instead of starting with black cardstock and then painting a purple circle, well, because I didn't have purple paint, first of all, I decided to start with the purple cardstock and kind of paint the edges black. And then I had the idea that, maybe I could put some things in some of the corners corners of the page as I kind of paint a black circle. So I used that stencil there in a different way. Instead of using it as a resist, I actually painted on the stencil, and then I pressed it really hard into the paper to kind of get the spider web look. And then I'm going with this other simple star stencil, and I'm kind of going around the edges, adding some stars, and it looks really messy, but I promise you in the end it looks a lot better. So yeah, actually, I was kind of getting a little worried about it because I'm like, this is kind of a mess with all these stars and stuff, and it's some of the stars were getting kind of thick with paint. So yeah, but it all works out in the end. So I decided to kind of close up this circle a little bit and brush the circle a little bit more closed, and then I went through with some black splatters. So while that's over to the side drying, I am going to try to back my cut file. So I was going to start tracing it, and then I thought, maybe I should just go cut it out in my Cameo again, just all the little inside pieces, and that would be easiest. And wouldn't you know that I closed the file on my Cameo without saving it? And there is no way that I would ever go back and have gotten the exact same size. So I'm like, forget that. So I'll just back it by hand. So I'm just going to show you the W here. This is how I did it with this file. Because the lines were so thin, instead of tracing, I glued behind each letter one at a time, and then I just stuck it down to the pattern paper, waited for it to dry a little bit, and then cut out around it. So I love this green and orange against the purple background. It just is very Halloweenish. And then I added, I actually used craft cardstock on the hat and the broom, and then I just added some little accents with some gold pens there. So I love how that came out. I thought I would add a little bit more contrast here by adding some white splatters. And I love this white Delusions paint. It works, or I guess it's mist ink. It's awesome, but it does take forever to dry. So I was digging through my Halloween stash, and I found, I showed you there some pink paisley, super old, 2011 pink paisley, like transparencies. I have stuff from My Mind's Eye and Jilly Bean. I have a huge bag of Halloween stuff, and I don't really scrap a ton of Halloween photos, which is ironic because I love Halloween and I have a ton of Halloween photos, and I have some pretty awesome costumes that my kids have worn over the years, so I should scrap those for sure. So I was initially going to stick with the green and orange and purple theme. And as I was going through this die cut pack, I pulled out a couple of those blue stars, and I just loved the contrast and just the color pop it adds. So again, I broke out a ton of sticker sheets, a lot of different sheets here. And just finding some stars and other little bits to kind of scatter around. The little black kitty was a must. That was Jelly Bean Soup. So super cute. I think actually all those die cuts are Jelly Bean Soup. And there is the transparency that I put behind the photo. So instead of using paper to mat the photo, I'm just going to use that transparency, I think. Just kind of looking around, seeing what else I want to add. I put a few bat stickers in. Those are from crepe paper. And then this is a super old sticker pack from La Paperie. I don't know if you guys remember that. Gosh, that was just kind of like a one and done company, I think. Like they were around for a year or so, and I think that was it. Okay, so I guess I'm happy with the way things are going and have gone. I'm going to start gluing some things down. I'm going to pop my photo up from that transparency, and then I'm going to pop that whole, well, actually I don't pop it up again, but I'm going to just put some tape behind that and stick it to my page. And now I'm going to go through and pop up these other little things. So the cat there, and this phrase sticker. I love adding the three-dimensional dots to this. It's just amazing to me how different it looks when you can pop something up. And I think it's because, you know, when you pop something up with foam squares, you get a tiny bit of a shadow. I mean, you may not really recognize it at first or actually pay attention to it at first, but it's, I think just that little bit of a shadow underneath a popped element just really makes it stand out just that much more. So I love using foam squares on my things. Sometimes if the square is too big, I cut it down, so I cut some of these squares down in half just with my scissors, and I just make them smaller so that they don't stick out behind the cut file. Okay, glue these stars down. This was actually a pretty quick page. I had the background in my mind with the purple and black, and then of course the cut file does the work for you, really. And I definitely knew I wanted to back it with green to match my daughter's face. So this one kind of went pretty easy. I think that I spent the most time actually just going through my stash looking at all the Halloween things I have and seeing what I wanted to use. Okay, I think I popped up all those stars. I have to use the sticker that says "Something wicked this way comes." Love that phrase. And then kind of as a little last bit of bling and sparkle here, I'm going to use some black sequins that were kind of stuck in the bottom of my sequin bag from a package that had broke, but that's fine. They fit perfectly on this page. I added my journaling, and then I went through, or I'm going to go through and add the date here in a second with my date stamp. I don't think I often show you this process when I add my date stamp or my journaling. I kind of do that usually at the end. And of course, it didn't stamp all the way, so do you stamp over it or do you just write it in? I just stamped over it, it's fine. Whatever. Okay, there it is. So there's the finished page. I love this contrast. It kind of just pops off the page. It kind of makes the photo look like not as sharp when you have that black, you know, very sharp black line with the in the letters there. So, very simple, just a little paint, some stencils. I guess it's not really simple. A cut file, pattern paper, sequins. Okay, it's not simple at all. I guess a lot going on this page. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Please be sure to check out Confessions of a Paper Addict and all of the amazing Halloween cut files Virginia has in the store right now. Thanks so much. Stay scrappy, my friends.